Hey everybody, Eric Leamy here, New Bedford's resident CHP, as Crazy Half Portuguese, presenting to you another video episode of the pilot season of coming into the third season of my YouTube saga. As you know, it's a gap between EML-77 TV and the third season that will be known as WEML-TV Channel 77. This is the bridge up. What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. And like I said, during the course of this holiday season, I will be talking about what's on my mind. And it seems like because of 2020, the way it's been, every lot is on my mind, obviously. So this is before I enforce. And by the way, those declarations that I made for my third channel, they will not be activated until next year. So I'll have to talk. I'll give myself a little leeway at this point to talk about all the other things I want to talk about. But right now, I want to talk about a wrestling legend. As you know, today is November 22nd, 2020. Excuse me. On November 22nd, 1990, at Survivor Series, the $1 Million Team was down one man when Bad News Brown was ousted from the WWE, or then World Wrestling Federation at the time. They were going up against Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and the then World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Animal Neidhart, aka the Hart Foundation. Survivor Series was right around the corner, and DiBiase needed a fourth man. Well, DiBiase introduced that fourth man to the World Wrestling Federation and basically changed that company's life forever. Shook the very foundation in the organization that is now known as the WWE. Got to the point where many superstars in that company looked to him for inspiration, looked to him for advice, and have a lot of respect for him. That man that I'm talking about is none other than the legendary Undertaker. That's right, tonight will be his final farewell at Survivor Series. 30 years, this man has made quite the impact on one wrestling company. Well known throughout the whole entire world. He started off his career in the late 80s as personas like the Master of Pain, Punisher Dice Morgan in Japan, the Commando, me Mark Callis in WCW. But it was his latest incarnation that immortalized him forever. And I will never forget when he was near 7 feet tall, almost 330 pounds. He ran roughshod through every superstar in that company in his first run. In fact, got his first win at WrestleMania 7, defeating the eventual Hall of Famer, the original Phenom, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. The Undertaker, after 1 year, feuding with some of the biggest names, went after the biggest name in that company at that time for his title. That big name was Hulk Hogan. But with the help of Ric Flair at Survivor Series 1991, thus being the first one-on-one matchup in Survivor Series history, Ric Flair used a steel chair to help The Undertaker defeat Hulk Hogan to become the first time ever the World Wrestling Federation World Heavyweight Champion. The Undertaker defended the title against superstars like Bret the Hitman Hart and the British Bulldog, notching victories over those two gentlemen. Hogan got the title back in Tuesday in Texas, but it was held up in the Royal Rumble, eventually won by Ric Flair. During that time, after Ric Flair won the title, we all thought The Undertaker had no direction. We all thought he had that direction with Paul Bearer replacing Brother Love in February 91. But it was until Jake the Snake Roberts decided to use The Undertaker for his own personal gain, the knowledge of the dark side. It was there that the Undertaker finally saw the light, and after rescuing Miss Elizabeth with a steel chair in Saturday Night's Main Event in 1992, Undertaker responded with Jake the Snake Roberts of whose side is the Undertaker on? The two words that would spark him to be one of the most popular athletes in the WWE. Not yours. After that feud with Jake the Snake Roberts, The Undertaker became one of the most popular superstars in the then World Wrestling Federation, toppling giant after giant. The Berserker was his next target. Then he went after the Ugandan giant, the mighty Kamala. Then he ran into someone that we all thought was tougher than The Undertaker, the 8-foot monster Giant Gonzalez. Afterwards, after he dispatched of him and Mr. Hughes, The Undertaker set his sights on Yokozuna, who was the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion at the time. But after surviving a casket match with Yokozuna and 9 other superstars helping him put The Undertaker away, The Undertaker was nowhere to be seen until Ted DiBiase claims that he's contacted The Undertaker. The Undertaker came back, or so we thought. It was a fraud. Ted DiBiase found someone who resembles The Undertaker and pays him to be The Undertaker until the real deal came back in SummerSlam 94 and defeated the imposter. The Undertaker went on to go after Yokozuna and put him away. Undertaker then started feuding with the $1 Million Corporation, IRS, King Kong Bundy, and Kama. After all that, The Undertaker set his sights on Diesel. The Undertaker set his sights on King Mabel. After dealing with him, he decided to go after Bret Hart for the title. But Diesel wanted a shot at it. So The Undertaker set his sights on Diesel, defeated him in WrestleMania 12 in a highly awesome contest. The Undertaker then feuded with the likes of Mankind and Goldust, 2 masters of the mind games. But The Undertaker's the ultimate master. And then afterwards, 1997, after Paul Bearer betrayed him in 96, 1997 was one of the most tumultuous years for The Undertaker. Taker beat Sid at WrestleMania 13 for the title. Paul Bearer tried torturing him. Undertaker was feuding with Ahmed Johnson and Farouk. And then Bret the Hitman Hart. All in all, Paul Bearer had a secret that he threatens to expose him. Paul Bearer exposed that secret. Kane, his younger brother, is still alive. Unbelievable, right? Kane finally came, and The Undertaker feuded with him for a good almost year and a half. The two joined forces for a while. Then he went after Austin for the title. But all that failed. He started his own faction, the Ministry of Darkness. Took Dennis Knight, morphed him into Midian. Took Mabel, morphed him into Viscera. Bradshaw and Farouk became the Acolytes. And for a while, they had the Brood. And then the merger happened. The corporation and the ministry in 1999 became the corporate ministry. Little did they know it was an all well thought out plan by Vincent McMahon, who was revealing himself to greater power to go after Austin. Austin countered by being the CEO and changed some things. Austin got his title back. In the summer of 99 that year, Mr. McMahon went away for a while. Triple H tried to go after the title. Undertaker sat out the rest of 1999 with an injury. Came back as the American Badass in 2000. Now, I can go on and go throughout the timeline of The Undertaker. You know that. You probably don't want to know what are my thoughts on The Undertaker. When I first saw him, I thought he was pretty scary. Wasn't a big fan of him at first. And then I thought he was cool when he turned against Jake the Snake Roberts at the time. And it was amazing. The funny thing is, though, at that time, as a born again Christian, I didn't worship the Undertaker or anything dark like him. I just respected his abilities in the ring. He was an amazing athlete for a man 7 feet tall, 330 pounds, and he moves like a cruiserweight, for goodness sakes. I mean, the moves that he does and the way he presents his character, it was really cool. You know, but then when he decided to do the Ministry of Darkness thing, that's when I decided, oh, I'm not going to be a fan of him. I don't like him anymore. At that point, I remember wanting to wear an Undertaker T-shirt to meet Ted DiBiase because DiBiase was the man that brought him in 1990. But my mother made me change the shirt. She didn't like the shirt, so I had a shirt with him. I just wore the eyes rolling the back of his head. But over the years, the Undertaker has evolved himself, and after he cut out the Ministry of Darkness thing, he went to the American Badass thing, almost a near human version of himself, like the Mark Calloway version. Taker said that's his favorite version of himself to do, and it's the American Badass version, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, that's my favorite version of all time because it lets him be himself. It lets him, it loosens him up a little bit. And then he evolved the Dead Man character over in the later years when he got buried alive by Kane in 2003, came back in 2004 as the hybrid of sorts. And then during these last few moments here in the WWE, WrestleMania with the Boneyard match against AJ Styles, it was like a hybrid of both of them, a little relaxed. So, and nowadays you see him more, active more on social media, talking, making the rounds, talking to people, interviewed by Mario Lopez. And, it's just amazing what, has his own document. He's got a document with his brother, the Brothers Destruction, Kane. The two of them sat down, talked about how well the careers went, and he talked about how he started this group called the BSK, the Bone Street Crew, and there was a picture of them reuniting with Rikishi, Savio Vega, and then you got some of the Godwins, Dennis Knight and Mark Canterbury, Henry and Phineas, aka and Phineas Godwin, aka Midian. We know Yoko's and Brian Adams, aka Crush, was missing from that crew, obviously, because they're no longer with us, but it shows Undertaker in a total different light. He married to Michelle McCool, had a daughter with her, and just it was really really cool to see Undertaker, in sit back, watch the young talent go at it. He praises the young talent. He praised Sasha Banks and Bailey. I mean, he had a lot of respect, and he talked about some of the superstars he worked with, and it was so awesome to see that. And a lot of people are celebrating 30 years of The Undertaker, how much he was an inspiration. To me, he was like a cool, you look back at his career, and he worked hard for it. To me, The Undertaker was the ultimate workhorse for of the WWE. He's been the constant stalwart in that company. Ever since leaving WCW as me, Mark Callison, and morphed into The Undertaker and really made the character believable. And like you don't see what goes on outside of the WWE, what's going on in his private life. In 2000, you got to see a little bit of that at the time, and now that the Undertaker's career is winding down, especially tonight being the final farewell, you see a lot more of that. You see a lot more human side of the Undertaker come out. He appears on Booker T's roast, and Booker T he took Booker T in as part of the Bone Street Crew, and it was really cool to see that, and just really see. And the Undertaker also made his rounds. He became a born again Christian, which I was kind of shocked. Talking to Pastor Ed Young, you can see his video interview with him here on YouTube. It's so amazing what the Undertaker, has accomplished in these 30 years. It's really sad that he's never been the Intercontinental Champion. That's the only thing I'm honestly disappointed is the Undertaker did not at least hold the Intercontinental title, not even for a week. Because the Undertaker is the ultimate workhorse for the WWE, and that title represents the workhorse. It's the workhorse championship, and to me, Undertaker became that workhorse over those years. And to me personally, in my opinion, the Undertaker should at least been the Intercontinental Champion for at least a week or so. Give him a short reign, then have him hand the belt and let the Young Guns take care of it. And just and then just sitting back with talking to his colleagues about what the business meant for him and everything else, and what the WWE meant for him. I can't explain how much how much of a big deal this is, and for the Undertaker to step away from the ring and to retire, and it's something that uh, it's amazing about how just you know it it is sad that we're going to see him retire and just step away for a while, but he deserves it. He deserves to retire. He deserves to be have it. He's going to be definitely going in the Hall of Fame. There's no question about that whatsoever. I mean, just duh. You know what I mean? And just it is amazing about how things like that could happen. Um, it's something that we it's 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 crazy. It's crazy that he's going to retire after 30 years. I mean, like I said, I'm disappointed that he's not that he has not held the Intercontinental title. To me personally, he should have. Like I said, I think he should be the Intercontinental Champion. Because that title is a work. Like I said again, that title is a workhorse title. He probably thinks in his mind that the Intercontinental title is a little bit beneath him, but it's not, because that's he's a workhorse. He's the ultimate workhorse in that company, and anytime they need him, he's there. He gets himself ready to go. He works harder than anybody else to make his character believable and it's awesome. To me, they should present him with the Intercontinental title because he's the ultimate workhorse for that company, for the WWE, and what he's done over these 30 years in his career. I believe now that's what I personally believe. Or to say, do something for him to say away saying thank you, Undertaker. And the Undertaker, 30 years, man. I can't get it out. It's surreal, right? And with the pandemic, with everything going on, and Undertaker is trying to make the most of it by relaxing and doing these media rounds, which is totally crazy. And we're going to see him on Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those two had an awesome rivalry. And you talk about the famous Hell in a Cell match with Mick Foley, and that he had with Mankind, aka Mick Foley, and he talks a little bit about that, and just to see and Undertaker telling all these road stories and everything else, and it's something that we have an opportunity to see the real the other side of the Undertaker, the real man behind him, Mark Calloway. It's gonna be really really gonna be strange with the WWE without the Undertaker. Is he gonna appear on AEW and talk about his career? Is he going to go on Impact, or is he going to stick with the company and help out the young guns in that company? And I think he's going to stick with the WWE even after he retires from in-ring competition. And you're talking about, the man's worked hard 30 years in that company alone, 30 years, and just, like I said, I'm always will respect the Undertaker and salute him and say thank you, and for great 30 years, and it's always interesting to see who is he going to feud with. It's like, okay, I want him to feud with this person, I want him to feud with that person. You know, like, you know, you talk about Karrion Kross. There's one guy, he reminds me of Undertaker when it comes to Mike, but Karrion Kross has got a little bit of Psycho Sid, Jake the Snake Roberts when it comes to cutting promos and all that. And you got the intensity of the Undertaker. Dexter Lumis is another guy. He just, when he gets that, he's got that, stone cold look. It's like his expression almost never changes. That's Undertaker-esque, if you ask me. Um, you know, Daba Kato, aka formerly known as Baba Tunde, to size and strength, he's closer to the Undertaker in that department. So here's another guy, Braun Strowman, Lars Sullivan, these big mean monsters that could be possibly replace the Undertaker. So and nobody can replace the Undertaker. There's only been one dead man, unless Ted DiBiase decided to pull Undertaker's cousin Brian Lee out and said, "Hey, can you dress like the dead man again? I'll pay you." And Taker would be like, "I'm not going to. I'm not going through with this again." Anyways, um, all in all, Undertaker, thank you for an awesome career in the WWE. May your legacy live forever. I know you talked to a lot of the big men in NXT, like a Killian Day. You sat down with them, you talked with them, and you gave them advice. I'm sure they're going to take it out like Damian Priest, Keith Lee, Killian Dane. You got Braun Strowman, Dabba Kato, all those guys. And I'm sure if you ever are still hanging around the WWE, you probably be a coach or or somebody that can give advice to. Be very interested to see what's going to be next for the Undertaker or the man behind him. That would be Mark Calloway. What's next for him? Is he going to he's going to be with his lovely wife Michelle McCool, former WWE Women's Champ, in her own right as well, and she's one of the most accomplished ladies in that women's division as well. So you got to see what you got to see. I see Undertaker just sitting back. Like I said, I know he's a real estate agent as well, which is really really crazy. So he's got that job to fall back on, and everything else in between. And I I see Undertaker more of a mentor role than anything else, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Could be one more match. I don't know. It's lots. Like I said, I made a prediction that one of three things could happen. Retribution's going to come up and try to attack him, but he's going to get back up of his own. And Sami Zayn will try to interrupt him again tonight. And after his match against Lashley, who knows? Or will the lights go out and Sting makes an appearance and challenges him to a match at WrestleMania? Last match for both guys. I see that happening, but we'll see what happens. Anything can happen in the WWE, basically. It'll be very interesting to see what will happen here, and you're going to see a lot of people, paying tribute to him. The Bone Street Crew happens to be there. The Godfather, Rikishi, Booker T. Lots of legends are going to be there, and it's going to be really, really surreal, to say the least. And all I can say is thank you, Undertaker. You know, your career is not going to rest in peace, but your legacy will live forever. And I personally believe that you. I personally believe the Undertaker will keep going, so to speak. Not in wrestling action, but work with the younger talent, help out the younger talent, be a coach, a mentor, something like that. And who knows? We'll take a TV authority role and say, okay, I'm making the matches now. This is my new name. I'm the general manager of the Thunderdome. Who knows for sure what will be in store for the WWE when the Undertaker finally decides to hang up those boots tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it and see what happens. Okay. I will see you guys later. This is the 7th episode of the Bridge Up, and I will see you guys on the next episode, episode 8. Don't know what's going to happen next, and I will find out when I get there. Okay. Peace. Have a great guys. If you get a chance, if you are planning to watch Survivor Series tonight on the network, go ahead, enjoy it. I know I will, and I'll see you guys around. Peace.